With the Porsche, what I really, really love about it is that, you know, it was my grandma's, so it's a treasure, I guess. You know, my grandparents, you know, they didn't go through cars per se, but they would get a new one, lease would run up, get another one. But out of all of the cars, she wanted to keep this one. The story I was told was she was looking at a car or talking about her trade-in, and my uncle didn't feel that they were treating her right or with respect or whatever, something. And I think just as a comment, he just threw out there, all right, Mom, let's go to the Porsche dealer across the street and look at some real cars. And then they just, you know, walked out of the dealership, kind of to make a, not really a scene, but just to set a point. But they did. And I think to my uncle's shock, she actually started looking around at some of the Porsches. And I think to him it was, you know, Mom is never going to want anything like this. Because everything before was, you know, some big American car, some Buick or Chevy or something like that. And in her words, she thought this model, the 944, was cute. The fact that it was special enough to her that she kept it, and then special enough to my dad that he kept it because he needed a car, and then the fact that he kept it all through this, and then even when it was sitting dead, not moving for 15 years, he still kept it. Just as a car, regardless of sentimental value, I love how vintage but also modern it is. The modern design, at least in 80s terms, it's a very classic looking design, but you can also tell it's kind of an 80s modern kind of look. But also the rawness, the raw sports car aspect of it, with it being a aluminum 4-cylinder engine with not too many horsepower, but enough. It's rear-wheel drive. The handling is incredible, and it just gives that feel, just the really neat vintage feel that not a lot of cars have. And then dislikes, it mainly comes with repairing. With any 40-year-old car, things are going to break. It's just inevitable. But another issue that I run into a lot is when I'm out driving it, I'm not a very daring, so to say, driver. So I've had many, many times people get up next to me, rev their cars, make them pop and bang, and then take off beside me and scare me to death. I've had a few people honk their horns, and then I just heard them yelling out the window, "Nice car," but they have just scared me to death, and then my heart is racing. But I don't. Mainly the kind of the, "Hey bro, let's race." That's never appealed to me, and that's one thing I just don't like, because the car's image just really gives the look of a very fast car, which, to be honest, it's not a very fast car, and that's one thing you got to learn about it. I think one of my favorite things about the car is its originality, like it having the original wheels, seats, and steering wheel. They've just been in there, and it's almost like a time capsule, including a lot of the stuff it came with still in the trunk. So, we got the official Porsche specified hatch prop. Really comes in handy. So in the back here, coolant. So what's really cool is that a lot of the stuff that came with the car, and most of it, is still with it. So the sunroof is a manual sunroof. You have to unlatch it manually, and it doesn't you can't leave it there. So what you're supposed to do is take it out and put it in this actual leather carry bag and just lay it here in the back. Some of this little stuff is, you know, with any car, stuff like this, just people take and then it goes missing, but all of this is still in here with it. The original leather bag toolkit, it still looks fairly nice, but I think I'm missing one screwdriver. Other than that, the toolkit is complete. I don't think I've ever used any of these, but it's neat that they're still there. One thing that I cannot seem to find that anyone else has, I'm sure people do, but I'd imagine that it's one of those things that just breaks and then people get rid of them, and that is the original, I'm assuming dealer installed spare tire inflator, because the spare tire is actually compressed to fit into this well, and it actually blows up. And you stick this into the cigarette lighter. There's a wire holder on one of the sides, and you stick it in there and you can blow up the spare tire. This one doesn't work and the case is cracked, but it's still fascinating that it's still with the car. The original aluminum armed jacking lever for the original jack, which is under this, which you have to unbutton. Interesting they did this, so it is. I have to move the prop here, but this unbuttons and kind of folds back. And you got the original spare. I believe this one, there's actually two with it. I believe this one is the original factory spare, and it has been used. And then the jack is also tucked behind here. And that's the original jack as well. It's all still here. I don't know how much I would trust some of these things, but they are still with it, which is one very cool thing that I really love about this car, is the originality with everything still being here. My grandma never wanted to change anything, really. She loved it the way it was. And seeing a very, very original one is a very neat sight.